friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, I am going to be checking in with my March budget for week 1. So I have in front of me here my hybrid budget worksheet. It's actually a 2-page spread that I created for myself in order to get a snapshot of my entire budget all at a glance. So there is a place here for my monthly budget. There's a place to check in for each week of the month. There's also a little section to keep track of any savings, any extra debt payments, as well as any sinking funds. It's kind of an all-encompassing look at my budget. I have other worksheets that I use in conjunction with this, but if you were a budget minimalist, you could get away with just these 2 worksheets. I do have these available as printables as part of my channel membership. If you click the join button below this video and it will bring up some information about my channel membership. The categories or the tiers of membership that say budget in the title are the ones that include budget worksheets. Check it out if you're interested in having your own set of budget worksheet printables that you can use to keep track of your budget. That's where you can get them. All right, let's go into what this video is going to be. We're going to check in, write out any actual amounts of any bills that have come out of my account this week. We did pay some bills. And then we're going to check in for week 1 with the variable spending. So I have some categories here in my budget: my grocery budget, my eating out budget, my auto pay budget. These are things that I have just one kind of overarching amount that I want to spend for the month, but it comes out a little bit each week. And in order to help me keep track of it, make sure I'm sticking to my budget, I check in with my budget once a week, and that's where these little weekly sections come in. So for week 1, the dates that we did the spending are February 27th through March 4th. So even though this is my March budget, I like to budget monthly. I also, as I mentioned, break it down by week, and my personal budget weeks go from Tuesday to the following Monday because my husband and I are paid on Tuesday. So this first week of March here, March didn't actually start until the 1st, but I started budgeting for March this Tuesday when we got paid. So it's, you know, everything we spent in those 7 days. My new weekly budget will kind of start again on March 5th. So we're just tracking for the first week of March. Before I get into the variable spending, I did have some bills come out, and I am using this expense tracker that I have already filled out, categorized, and color-coded. I did this in my expense tracking video for the week, so if you missed that, you're going to want to go back and watch it. I will link it in a card above if I remember. If not, it's like the last budgeting video. I have a whole playlist of my 2024 budget videos. I'll try to remember to link that as well in the description box. But yeah, I filled this out with you guys in a previous video. Now I'm using all of this information to help me check in for the week. So under the bills category, which I highlighted in blue here, we had our lot rent come out, and it was $729.45. So I'm going to write that here in this actual column. You can see I budgeted $800 for that. It only came out to $729.45, so we're under budget there, which is great news. The other bill that came out was my storage unit, which was $92.70, which is also under budget. That's what we like to see. All right, let's go ahead and check in for the week. And I'm actually going to pull this right out of my planner to make it a little bit easier. One of the things that I really like to do is punch my worksheets and put them into a disc-bound system so I can easily pull them out to make it easier to write on, or I can rearrange them. Spiral notebooks and stuff are great, but they're kind of not as customizable as this. I love being able to print my worksheets, pop them in on the discs, and then I can always rearrange them if need be. And writing without that, those discs right along my wrist, so much easier. So let me zoom in just a little bit. I don't want to overdo it here, but we're going to talk about the categories for my weekly check-in. So the variable categories that I have here are grocery, eating out, spending, and auto pay. So each week I check in with these, I see what I spent, I see what I have remaining in my monthly budget, and that just helps me keep on track. If I wait until the end of the month to track everything, it's a disaster. I don't have any idea what I spent each week. I don't know how much I have left in my budget. So checking in once a week helps me stay on track. If I overspend in groceries in week 1, then I know that the subsequent weeks I have a little bit less to spend. So this is just how I do it. My hybrid budget worksheet makes it super easy. So yeah, we're just gonna look here. For groceries this week, I spent $365.83. I know in my mind that I like to try to keep it at around $300 a week. If I spend around $300 a week, then I'll be able to stick to my budget. You can see I spent more than that this week. So now I know in subsequent weeks, I have to spend a little bit less, or I have to just be okay with going over budget, which I am not. So $365.83 is what we spent the first week. Overall for the month, if you look here in the monthly section, you can see, well, maybe you can see, I definitely have it kind of scribbled in there because I wasn't using an erasable pen when I wrote out my budget. I have since restocked my erasable pen stash. I love the Parkoo erasable pens. They're available on Amazon. I'll try to remember to link them for you. But again, if I forget, you can just search Parkoo. Okay, $1,600 is the grocery budget that I have for the month of March because there's 5 Tuesdays in my March budget, which means 5 paychecks. 1,600, or I'm sorry, 300 times 5 is 1,600. Actually, it's not, it's 1,500. Where did I come up with 1,600? Just bad math, I guess, but okay, that means that I have a little bit more to work with this month, which is fine because we've already overspent a little bit in the first week of the month, so maybe that'll be to my advantage. All right, so if I take the 1,600, I subtract the $365.83 that we spent. That means I have $1,234.17 remaining. And I know there's 4 weeks left in the month, so just for shits and giggles, let's go ahead and divide that by 4. Means I have $308.54 per week to spend. If I spend a little bit more one week, a little bit less in another week, that's fine, as long as it comes out to $1,600 at the end of the month, but it's just good to know for future reference. All right, for eating out, we spent $100 with 39 cents this week. My monthly budget for eating out is $500. So if I take that $500, subtract the $100.39, we have $399.61 remaining. Again, we'll divide that by 4. It means we have about $99 to spend per week, give or take. So we spent about $100 this week. So if we can continue that trend, we should come in under budget. All right, for spending, we definitely did a lot of overspending this week. We spent $327.58. And our budget for the entire month for spending is $600. So we have already spent more than half our budget, and we still have 4 weeks left to go. It's a longer month. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes. I will be mindful of that moving forward. We got to make sure we're not continuing to overspend if we want to stick to our budget. That's our goal. So we have $272.42 remaining in our spending budget. Again, we'll divide that by 4. It's about $68 per week. Something for me to keep in mind. And then last but not least, we have auto pay, which we spent $96.67. Now, unlike the variable categories that I've already kind of discussed here, auto pay, I don't really think about it in terms of weeks because things just kind of come out willy-nilly throughout the month. If you're not familiar with how I budget, the line item auto pay is just all of those little bills, streaming services, that sort of thing that come out automatically. I don't have to think about it. I have about a zillion little $2 here, $12 there, rather than writing them all out and taking up every single space of my monthly budget here. I just lump them all together in one auto pay category and then I track them week to week. So we started with $250 in our monthly budget. We've spent $96.67. So we are good to go. We still have $153.33 remaining. All right, those are all of my variable categories. I'm gonna go ahead and get a quick total. And the reason why I total everything out is because I have written out my budget. I've separated everything by category, but ultimately, my ultimate goal is to not spend more than my total monthly budget here. So if I go over budget in groceries, but I'm under budget in spending, or vice versa, or I'm over budget in a couple of categories, under budget in some bills, however it shakes out, if I come in under budget overall, I'm okay with it. So it's okay if we go a little bit over some in one category, as long as we come in a little bit under in another category. So I just like to get the total to see kind of how much overarching we're working with these variable categories. So if we take the 83 plus 139, 327.67, 96. Oh, nope. I was gonna say that's too many 67s. 327.58. I love the calculator on my phone because I can backspace and just erase any mistakes. Plus 96.67. All those numbers are accurate. We spent $890.47 in our variable categories this week. This week. Remaining, we have $2,059.53. So, you know, if the rest of the month we don't spend any more money in eating out, spending, or auto pay, but we spend $2,059.53 in groceries, we'll still come in under budget overall, and that'll be okay. Just how I like to do it. You can do your budget any way you want. Personal finance is personal. You can switch up your categories. You can do things differently. Whatever works for you is a win. And this is what works for me. So, all right, friends, that's it for my budget check-in. This was pretty short and sweet, but it's an important part of the process for me. Track all of my spending, plug it in here into my budget so I can get a feel for what I need to do for the rest of the month to stick to my goals. So, thank you so much for joining me today for this process. Knowing I'm accountable to you helps keep me on track, and hopefully you find it motivating as well. I will see you next week for some more budget content. But in the meantime, I also post lots of lifestyle content, vlogs, different types of videos. So if you're interested in those other things, be sure to check those out as well. Bye, guys.